We're live once again on Substack, and as you can see, I am joined by our old friend, Phil Jones. How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing pretty good. Let's take the old out. Just Brett.
Oh, I tell you, we're all
No,
getting
that's
old.
okay.
But yeah, we go way back, and I
Yeah.
mean that's why it's such a great day. Is I remember back in 2016 when you and Willie came up with this idea to begin with, and what I remember was you were having a devil of a time with these billboard companies at that time.
Oh, we were. We got shut down so many times. Well, but the previous ones. And then when we finally started to use Lamar, and they stuck with us, which was really good. They did the LA billboards for us. And then in Florida, we did the one in there with Clear Channel. And it worked out. But we appreciated your help back then, too, because I don't think we could have done those ones without your help. When you put the article up with our link in it for the GoFundMe, and we were able to raise all the money for those Call Me billboards. We'd gone a week or more, and we'd raised $70. And then within a day or two, we had enough to cover a couple of months of the billboards in LA.
That's great to hear. Well, the underground bunker community is a generous community. I'm always very happy to see how people like to help out, and that was a great cause. I was there in LA for the unveiling of one of them. I don't remember if it was the first one or the second one. Remember, it was up by not too far from Dodger Stadium, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was the first one.
Okay.
And that was the one we got the biggest amount of press on it. There was a whole
Right.
media scrum there, and then we had interviews after, and then interviews went on for months afterwards. We were getting radio, TV, all sorts of stuff after that. It was a whole new thing for me. I'm not great on interviews, but it got some publicity, which I think was important.
Well, it was just such a great idea, and I think people understood immediately what was going on. And of course, it calls back to Scientology itself. In 1990, the Los Angeles Times put together one of the great all-time series about Scientology by Joel Sapel and Robert Welkos. Incredible series, and just really, got so much new material about Scientology. And how did Scientology react? They rented a bunch of billboards around LA.
Yeah.
And they selectively pulled quotes out to make, like, so for example, when Sapel and Welkos would say something like, after a period of growth, Scientology, they would then pull out whatever that little complimentary piece it was and put it on a billboard to make it look like the LA Times series was actually more complimentary. So there's this thing about Scientology and billboards going back 35 years. And then when you came up with this idea of having a billboard, I think people understood immediately what it meant. So you did the one in LA, did the one in Clearwater, and then some time passed. And then last year, you hooked up with the Aftermath Foundation. And this time, what was fun was you put up a billboard, but this time it was practically on the same block as Big Blue in Los Angeles, right?
Oh, from the advanced org at Big Blue, out the window, you could see that billboard and read it clearly. It was that close. They panicked. They royally panicked. That's when they set up their scissor lifts to block it. And they had two of them up there at one point just to block everything on it. And then it went down really fast. They were in a huge panic over that. But I think it still made some impact. The whole concept is, and that we might have got shut down, but the thing is, keep coming back.
Well, look, a year has gone by, and I remember at the time, either you or Claire saying something like, "We're gonna this isn't the last you've heard about this," and I remember I kind of forgot about that. And so when you contacted me this week, I'm like, "What's going on, Phil?" Oh my goodness, when you told me that not only were you putting billboards back up, but 20 of them. Oh my God.
Amazing.
Incredible.
I know. So the original, so the whole thing is an aftermath project. The whole initial stuff was all done mostly by Alex, and then I think Catherine Olson on the ground, where she was scoping out different sites, and they had it all that part of it all scoped out and everything, and then they asked me just to kind of come in and do the last bit to get the contract sorted and signed. It was a little more involved than I anticipated, but we got it sorted out and shot for the soonest launch date that we could. And got the artwork. Kernan did the artwork, and I mean, he's just so willing on that stuff. It's just he's just been a good friend through all of this. And
let's
we
say
got
the
them
full name:
launched.
Kernan Coleman, artist.
Kernan Coleman, yes.
I should have put that in the story today. Sorry about that, Kernan. But Kernan Coleman did a great job on the art. There's 3 billboards. The one where there's a figure coming out of a doorway. It's just very arresting. It's very, very sharp and clear. It gets right to the point. Really excellent. What I did not expect were 2 more billboards. One with Claire and one with Mike Render. Wow,
Yeah,
what
I
a
know.
great choice to put their
Yeah,
faces. But
yeah,
getting there because they're recognizable. They're important people, and I think it's just really arresting.
yeah, yeah. And um, and to get 20 of them out there, all in that whole area around all the. I mean, they're not necessarily in the doorstep of Scientology, but there's enough out there that that information on those billboards should hopefully get to some of the staff. And the phone number on that need help leaving Scientology billboard is an easy one to remember. So just a glance at it, and hopefully a Sea Org member, if they do decide they want to leave Scientology or leave the Sea Org, there is some help out there for them.
Well, that's great because I mean, some people might say, well, why not just have a website like you do on the others? But SEAL members don't have access to the internet.
No.
So, this is really smart to have a phone number for them, and I know that's got to be some effort on your part, the Aftermath Foundation's part, to have someone always answering it. But what a great collection of effort here and commitment from Alex and Catherine and you and Claire, from Kernan. Just an amazing operation. I I didn't have any word of it. I didn't get any wind of it. So
I
you
know.
called me up
Well,
here.
we kept it kind of under wraps.
Very
um,
good, very good.
but we know this whole deal with Scientology. Although the company we've been dealing with is the same company that did our previous billboards, and they've always been good.
And
Um,
it's Lamar is for all 20 of them.
yeah, yeah.
And they've already proved that they're not going to fold like a cheap tent like some of these other companies.
In the past, they've always been good, and they've seen the artwork and they've put them up. And so far, we haven't heard anything to indicate that they're going to do anything other than keep them up there. So happy about that.
The 20 locations, I put up the map you gave me.
Yeah.
I didn't really get a chance to examine it very carefully. Are some of these locations fairly close to some Scientology facilities?
Well, the one picture, I put a picture in the comments on the bunker where a friend of mine had gone by and taken a picture of one of the need help leaving Scientology signs. And that's right almost across the road, just down a little bit from Scientology Media Productions, and which is not that far from Big Blue. So, anybody, any of the, I know that Sea Org members don't get out much, but it just takes one person walking by, seeing that phone number and remembering it. And
Well, and with 20 of them up,
yeah,
Alex just chimed in and said that with 20 billboards, they're expected to be seen by 1.8 million people every week.
yeah, 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 it's huge.
Well, and look, I know they can't talk about it too much because of privacy concerns, but people are reaching out to the Aftermath Foundation. They
Yeah,
are getting help getting out of Scientology. We subsequently will hear from some of those folks who want to tell their stories, but we totally understand that some people don't want to say a word. I would absolutely understand that. So you're
I
not
get,
always going to know all the work
yeah,
that the Aftermath Foundation does, but we know that they're helping people.
yeah, and I get that. I mean, it's tough to get out for one, but it's tough to kind of go back and kind of fight against the thing and the abuses. Well, I mean, you've dealt with it for years and what they're capable of. And, it's, I can understand if somebody gets out and they kind of want to go, you know what, I just got to get my life back together and, for what I've got left. So, I get it. I get it if someone doesn't want to speak out, but fortunately, the aftermath is there to help them to get back on their feet and get a life.
And I mean, you mentioned, I mean, I deal with a certain amount of harassment from these jokers, but you're in a much different situation. You've got grown children still in there. And I know it's been
Yeah,
such a struggle for you and Willie and I know it is for any person in a disconnected family. Do we keep quiet and hope that Scientology, loses their grip on these people and we eventually get them back? Or do we make a lot of noise and make it so that it's such a hassle that Scientology pushes them out? I've seen both work.
yeah.
And
I
it's
think I think in our case though, staying quiet would not do anything because um, some like if it's certain people in Scientology, maybe in the Sea Org, where Scientology might be willing to offload them if it's just too much hassle. But both of our kids are, in kind of high enough up that I don't think that Scientology would let them go, especially our daughter, who has probably seen more than most. And so my view on it is staying quiet's not going to do anything. Speaking out might not do anything, but I know that saying nothing
right.
doesn't do anything. So I'm just going to keep at it, keep working on it, and hopefully at some point the thing will crack.
Well, and the smart thing about a billboard is it's passive, and so somebody could spot it. It creates a thought in their mind, and then maybe next week they decide to walk by that billboard again to get another better look at it. And I mean, it could be some time thinking about it, and nobody around them even knows that that message is getting to them and that they're turning it
Yeah,
over in their minds. And then finally, it's like, okay, I got to get out of here. What was that number again? I think it's something, that's what's so smart about a billboard
yeah,
is, look, what Leah Remini did on TV was incredible, but Scientology is usually pretty good at keeping its people from seeing stuff like that. But
right.
they're going to have a hard time keeping Scientologists from seeing these 20 billboards, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and the number is one that you could memorize easily. So you're not going to be carrying something around with you, and nobody's going to see in your mind. Although they might consider the e-meter sees in their mind, but it doesn't. And not everybody, gets checked for that. Did you look at that billboard and see that phone number? Not everyone's going to be asked that question. So, I think it's a safe bet if they see the phone number. And then what is Scientology going to do if they do find out the person has the phone number? They're going to say, "Oh, you need to forget that number." How are you going to forget a number you've already memorized?
Yeah, and how
Consciously
they
forget.
and Alex asks how are they going to get 20 scissor lifts up there to cover them all. I mean, they
Yeah,
might try something. We'll keep an eye on it, right, Phil?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, with 20 of them, it'd be tough for them to. They're not going to be able to cover them. They're really only their recourse would be to kind of make some noise for the company that we dealt with Lamar. But they stuck by us before, and even though Scientology is mentioned on these billboards, when we had the Call Me billboards, it was Scientology. The word Scientology was on it twice. So um, I think that we should be okay. And we got some other things in the works as well. So we'll see.
Oh, Phil, dropping some hints. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And how have you been? How have you really been lately?
Oh, we're doing okay. We're in Canada, and we've been here for 6 years. It's amazing how fast it goes. But I'm not really a big fan of the winters. But we've done okay here. We just we've kind of settled in, and um, We've been going every year around Christmas to Florida to see the grandkids and great grandkids. So we get to see them. But aside from that, both Willie and I are both healthy and doing fine, really.
Okay, well, when the war starts, I hope you and I can still communicate as our armies clash.
I know, we're in a border town, and I think about that sometimes. I think, yeah, if they ever invaded, we're the first place they're going to go. They're going to get the power station down the road. So, yeah,
Well,
I
crazy times,
it is
crazy
crazy time.
times. But we're still focused on Scientology, and
Yeah.
I mean, you when you were in it, you could sense that there was more to it than there is today. It's weakened now, isn't it, Phil?
Oh, 100%. I mean, if you look at their numbers alone are just, I mean, any org now is just a skeleton crew. Um, Back in our day, there were crowds. I mean, even back in the 70s, when we were in Toronto working at the org there, um, I was supervising the academy. I'd have maybe at least 60, 70 students on course. And sometimes on a weekend, I'd be stealing chairs from the basement to seat more students. And that was just the academy courses. Then there were the basic courses. We would have 100 or more students on course at any one time. But now you look at these pictures in the academies around these different orgs, and they might have one person sitting there or
Yeah.
three people sitting, three people holding up a certificate, and you're going, three people in a month? Yeah, they're not doing well. And I mean, even here in Canada, if I look at how Toronto org is doing, they've been fundraising for over a decade.
Well, let me ask you
To,
about that because I actually somebody asked me this question the other day, and I had to admit it kind of stumped me. It's like we all know that Toronto, one of the biggest cities in North America, has had no, has been sitting totally derelict, waiting for that building to be refurbished for its ideal org. Just like other cities like Philadelphia and Chicago and Austin all waited for a long time. Kansas City waited many years to get their building redone. But Toronto's a big deal. I think
yeah.
it's the biggest city in Canada, right? And it's why do you have a guess as to why Miscavige is dragging his feet on Toronto when traditionally Canada has always been one of the stronger places for Scientology, at least around the world? Um, why
Well,
would he be dragging
here's
his
my
feet
thought.
so much on Toronto?
Well, a couple of things. One is some years ago, there was an ideal org set up in Cambridge, Ontario, outside, a little over an hour outside of Toronto. And a lot of the Toronto people moved out there. And in fact, I know there were a couple of people. One of the Toronto guys that we knew actually became the executive director for a while at Cambridge org. So, kind of some of the people from Toronto there. And then there were also some of them passed away. But the thing is, my here's my theory on why Toronto is not doing well. I remember a story that Mark Headley told once about when they were in the hole and doing the musical chairs thing and threatening to send people away. Miscavige's thing was, "I'm going to send you to the worst place in the world, Canada," and
So maybe it's a
he hates Canada.
Miscavige thing. Maybe it's a
He
Miscavige thing. Maybe
I,
he doesn't
yeah.
think too much of Canada.
Well, back in the early 80s, when the Snow White court case was going on here in Canada, I think he testified at that. I think I read the transcript of it once, and it was just crazy time. And I think he was so humiliated by it that he just never got over his dislike for Canada. But Canada raised money that at one point when we were still in, so that's like over a decade ago. My sister, who's OT8 and very active in Scientology in Canada, told me that they had raised $5 million to renovate the Toronto org. And then the Scientology International scooped up that money. She said they needed it for some emergency Google ads or something. And so they've been fundraising for over a decade more. And they've got to have raised at least another $3 to $5 million, and nothing has been done. So they've
Nothing.
raised probably close to $10 million, and Miscavige is just sitting on the cash,
Wow.
and
And
that's it.
if that's the case, if Miscavige was humiliated in court testimony, I need to get a hold of that. How come I don't have that? I need to get that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case that he testified there, and I remember reading, and I'm pretty sure that was the case. But I remember reading that testimony one time, and the way he was like twisting things, and the words is like, I mean, it was just, if you can read it, it's just bizarre how it went.
I need to get my
I
I
sat
need to
in
get
on
my hands on that.
I sat in on some of that court case back in, when was that?
Was it
Early 80s.
83?
80,
83 was it?
83. I think it was 83. And because we knew all those GO people back then, we lived in this like little enclave, townhouse enclave, and all like it was all mostly Scientologists, and most of them were all GO people or ex-GO people, and quite a number of them were involved in the court case because they were all convicted and charged for infiltrating the uh, Ontario Provincial Police, the tax department, I mean, just amazing. And so I was asked to just go in and sit, just, I guess, whatever they want. But some of the staff from the 70s that I knew, the executive director and his wife, they testified against Scientology. So they flipped on
Mm,
Scientology. Scientology was convicted. Not only did all the defendants get convicted, they were only fined, but Scientology was the only religion in Canada that was actually convicted of a crime ever.
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
amazing.
And they still don't have tax exempt status today.
I think I'm not sure if it's they don't have religious status for that. I don't know
Yeah,
if
okay,
they
that's
have
what I.
charitable status, but I'm not sure
Oh, okay.
exact on it.
Mm,
Um, but they're not big for sure. Not big at all here.
yeah, not big at all.
Although my sister is still active with doing the Foundation for a Drug-Free World lectures in schools, even up to recently, like in the last few weeks. I think she's still doing that stuff out there. Um, I mean, we kind of had it shut down a little bit. She was doing it with different police departments, but now I think she just goes in on her own.
Yeah, wow. Well, again, let's focus on LA again.
Yeah,
That's for the folks that join later. Today, yesterday and today, the Aftermath Foundation has gotten up 20 billboards in Los Angeles. The same kind of thing Phil's done in the past, this time with the Aftermath Foundation. He says largely an effort from Apostate Alex Barnes Ross, and Catherine Olson did the heavy lifting. Congratulations, guys. This is amazing. Beautiful billboards, not just the one that we're used to with the person coming out of the doorway, but also uh, Claire Headley and Mike Rinder are
yeah,
going to be smiling over the city of Los Angeles for Scientologists to see. And like I said, I think what I like about it is it's the kind of thing where it's not just you're not just going to see it once. If you're a Scientologist and you see it on your way to work, you may see it a number of times. It may work on you. It may have you thinking about things,
yeah,
and that's kind of how it works, right? As you
yeah,
start to doubt, the doubt grows, and then at some point there's a tipping point, and okay, I need to get going. I need to get out of here.
right. Yeah,
And the Aftermath Foundation is there. I mean, that's the idea of
yeah.
how this works, right, Phil?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, even though for me, when I got out, it seemed instant, there were so many things prior to that, to be honest. But I was ready to receive the final message of, okay, that's enough. But yeah, it's a cumulative effect. There's all these red flags all through the years, and you're right. People will see those billboards over and over again. They might just think, why would I need help leaving Scientology? Can't I just leave? Well, wait a minute. No, I can't just leave. They're going to get the blow drill and they're going to come after me and da 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 da. I don't have any money. I have nowhere to go.
Absolutely. And yeah, and again, the company Lamar is a company you've worked with
Yeah,
before. They've been solid. They have not been
yeah,
scared by Scientology's antics. So we'll hope that that continues, especially with 20 of them. What a commitment. Do we get any sense? Are you guys going to tell us at this point how long you think they're going to go? I know usually you rent a certain number of months, that kind of thing.
yeah. I'll let you know that in a little bit.
Sure. The point is, wow. And I hope there's some local press. But I think it's just so in your face to Scientology, something that Dave's not really used to. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a surprise to them. Well, the one last year was a total surprise to them also. I mean, when I flew to LA last spring to do the that billboard there, um, I was sitting right there when they were putting it up, and the security guys kept coming up to the car on their bicycles. They must have seen me sitting there because they have cameras everywhere.
Right.
And I don't think they knew, because I was waiting for the install guys to come out. They hadn't arrived yet. And it was like really early in the morning. I think it was 4 or 5 in the morning or something. And I think they thought I was there probably for a protest or something. And then once the billboard went up, it was like all hell broke loose at that point. In fact, that's when I got attacked. I don't know if it had anything to do with Scientology, but there was that guy who
Right.
came over and swung at me. And man, that was kind of a bit of a scary time there.
That's just LA, man. That's just LA. You got to have your
Yeah,
dukes
I
up.
think so. I think so. I know. I know. I ducked. I've seen enough kung fu movies.
All right. Well, congratulations, Phil. Congratulations, Michael J. Rinder Aftermath
Yeah.
Foundation. I don't know where I've been. I didn't realize that Bruce Hines has been executive director for more than a year. I think it's great that he's
Uh,
executive director.
yeah, he's awesome. He's brilliant. I didn't know that either until you'd mentioned it on the bunker. But yeah, great choice. I think he's perfect for that.
So, all right. Well, I'm looking forward to more photos of these things in place. If you happen to be out and around the town in LA and you see a billboard, snap a picture. Snap a picture of yourself in front of it. Send it into the
Oh,
bunker. We'd love to see it. Love to get a nice collection of photos of people in front of those billboards. And we'll get back to you if we hear about any kind of aggression from the Church of Scientology.
I'll
Right?
let you know if I hear anything for sure. But the picture, yeah, it'd be great to get a whole bunch of pictures. There's 20 of them out there. So, um, a bunch of pictures and, people in front of them. That would be actually kind of cool. If they don't want to put their face out there, just a picture of the billboard and the street that they're at would be kind of nice.
All right. And as Alex just said in the chat, we're only just getting started. That's the way to go. All
That's
right.
right.
Congratulations, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm going to post this on the regular Substack soon. And way to go, man. What a great day.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony.
Talk to you later.